Hello, everybody. Welcome to another movie review. Sorry, I'm like typing while I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to multitask. I'm going to see how advanced and skilled I get as I upload more and more content on the Occupy Hollywood network, right? So, obviously, anyone who, if this is the first time you've ever listened to me, Jacob Erie, um, I am someone who loves pop culture, loves Hollywood, loves movies. I mean, when I say I love Hollywood, I don't love the nasty things that might go on in that place, but I digress. And so, if you know anything about me, the canon of this channel, right? I like really dumb and stupid and quirky and silly movies. Now, not like anything like super bad or Step Bros or anything like that. I'm not really into that stuff, but just movies that are kind of like primarily. Here's the thing, right? When I say I'm into this stuff, I mean like if I think of all the different movies that I like in pop culture, there's always a common denominator with um, and that is something I try to apply and implicate into like how I do filmmaking and screenwriting and stuff like that. Is I think the biggest thing that makes a movie successful is its rewatchability. Um, Obviously, if it's February and it's 2025, so many of you know that a lot of the stuff that's being put out, it's not all bad, but it just feels very industrialized. Like it's like on a conveyor belt of just like, oh, we got to put out more content. Netflix being the biggest culprit of that because Netflix will greenlight a show and then next thing you know, after the day after it premieres, it's canceled. And I just think that's really dumb. And like I said, I'm typing, so this review is kind of like whatever. Not the best quality, forgive me, but I'm just trying to like get a lot of done in a short amount of time. But I'm still here, focused, 100%. And so, um, you know, there's been a lot of talk on social media about comedies and like with the sensitive and the triggering and the political correctness. It's like you hear a lot of people regurgitate the whole thing of like, oh, like this movie could never be made today. Like it would like all these snowflakes, which is true. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, um, oh crap, hold on. I'm like trying to type this, and I'm like I can't multitask. Um, Hold on. Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I just have to get this typed out. I'm a horrible typer. I can't type to save my life. I usually write things out. And so yeah, back in the day, right? Me being the ancient man that I am, I'm such an old man in a young man's body. There was a movie called Land of the Lost. This was a movie that just, wasn't a big deal. It was made, it was whatever. But I used to think this movie was freaking hilarious. It's starring, someone who's very talented, who's got to start on SNL. I think he's got to start on SNL. Will Ferrell, you know, Will Ferrell is just that kind of guy, um, who's a well-rounded actor, comedian, artist. I wouldn't even be surprised if he could sing and dance. Maybe there's like a skit on SNL where or in a movie that he did that, but he really strikes me as someone who's like truly talented. And I used to think that one of the here's the thing. So I've kind of learned in life that you kind of want to like develop opinions about things. You don't have to have an opinion about anything. You can be very opinionated or you can be very reserved. It's like whatever. But you want to like develop your opinions off your own basis, not just like agree with someone just because like you want to adopt that sentiment or you really like that person or you want to fit in or whatever. I always there's the movie Elf. When people think of Will Ferrell, they think comedy, and then they think the movie Elf, which is also a comedy. It's a Christmas movie. I personally think they should make more Christmas movies, and you know, there's like the Home Alone, there's um, the Grinch, all these different Christmas movies that are very popular in the pop culture ethos. And I gotta say, I never thought Elf was a good movie. Now, here's the thing: it's not that I don't like it, like, but when I think of Christmas, I try to think of like the magic of it all, like the cool, like um, Grinch is like probably the best. I was recently watching one of my favorite YouTubers, um, Lady Phelps. If any of you guys know who that is, um, she was doing a whole just before 2024 ended. She was doing a whole thing of why or no, she was taking all the Christmas movies and like, she had like a whole chart of them. Like, I don't know what that chart is called. And she was reviewing which ones were the best ones. And I kept thinking to myself, because the Grinch with Jim Carrey was on there. I don't remember which one won, but I do believe that movie. I kept thinking to myself, that movie has to win. That literally is like such a good movie. Um, and it's like it's not just as a Christmas movie it's really good, but like as a movie by itself it is amazing. I've never ever met anybody who has ever said that movie is a bad movie, and I'm sure there's people who do think it's a bad movie, but like just my you get what I'm trying to say. It's just really well done, really whimsical, and like I said, I really like movies that are fictional. I don't really like try to pay. I don't really go to the movie theaters to see things I could see. There was a big deal about what was that movie that came out like 2 years ago, the Oppenheimer movie. And if I were to compare two different movies that I don't really, you know, I get the whole buzz about it, but I don't really like gravitate towards it. I don't really care about, fiction one and the nonfiction one. There's the nonfiction, which is Oppenheimer, and then there's the fiction one, which is like Lord of the Rings. These are just things I just don't care about because they don't really grip me. And Oppenheimer, it's based off real people, and like if I wanted to learn about real people and like um indulge in real things, I would just read a history book. And listen, I'm not trying to impose what I think. I'm just saying this is how what my life is. We're all entitled to self-determine, or and self-actualize and all this stuff. But I really, really think that Jim Carrey's The Grinch with it's just I just can't get over that movie. Maybe I should remember that movie next, but I don't know. But besides that, so Land of the Lost. Usually, I wouldn't tell you what these movies are about when I'm reviewing them. I would just tell you like things I like about them, objectively, subjectively. All the different filmmaking aspects of them, what they did good, what they didn't do good, what they could have done better. But I have to. So, the Land of the Lost is like a really weird movie, but um do I want to actually tell the plot? You know what? I don't want to spoil it, even. It might make it better for anyone who hasn't seen it, so I won't say anything. But Land of the Lost is one of those movies where it's like I wouldn't say it's funny for no reason because like there's some parts where the jokes really land really well, and some of them where they don't. But I think Land of the Lost is one of those things where it's like, I really like this movie. Nacho Libre is one of those movies I always thought was like super funny, and I've always had like thought very highly of. Land of the Lost, I don't think I could really say that for that movie, but I still like it. And the reason I'm mentioning this is Land of the Lost will probably get the lowest score, because this is gonna be like the first movie I give like a 5 out of 10. Now, to some of you who might be listening to this, you might be like, well, why do you like a movie that's 5 out of 10? Would it be classified as bad? No. You have to think. 5 out of 10, usually people think that's an immediate turnoff. But no, you have to think. What if I gave this movie a 2 out of 10? What does that say about the movie? It says it's horrible. A movie that's a 2 out of 10 or like a 1 out of 10 is like a movie like Madame Web. And I don't know if you guys have been familiar about recent movies that have been coming out in 2025 and 2024, but Madame Web was horrible. And I've never even seen that movie, but I know it's horrible. Now, to the crowd that's going to be like, well, how can you say it's horrible if you've never seen it? Guys, we judge movies all the time, whether we think they're really, really good or really bad that we've never seen, right? I bet you there's been people who've seen, like, what would be an example of that? People who've seen like a Studio Ghibli movie like Princess Mononoke or Kiki's Delivery Service, but they haven't seen the other Studio Ghibli movies, but I bet you they are inclined to believe that it's good. And then we do this all the time with bad movies. So stop, don't try to like rebuttal what I'm saying. This is if you didn't like what I'm saying, you probably wouldn't even be listening to this. But Land of the Lost, what do I think? I'm going to say one thing I thought it did good, one thing I think it did bad, or could have done better. So good, I think the castings were good. I think Will Ferrell in the role is close to perfect casting, even though anybody could have really done that role. There's also Land of the Lost. I also think like Land of the Lost, it's one of those things that was like based off a TV show. There was also Anna Friel, who played Holly, and then there was Danny McBride, who played Will Santon. And I think with the chemistry that they had with Will Ferrell's character, Rick Marshall, I think it was a good trio of people. I think that did really good. I think the movie looked great, and there were some really funny moments. Now, what do I think it could have done better? I think it could have had better antagonists or more ops, more characters that like, one of the writing advices I always got when I was like asking different screenwriters and writers that I was like meeting throughout the years. I remember one of my favorite screenwriters, who's the script doctor. He said that nothing should ever be easy for your characters, ever. And I think this movie, I don't know what it's rated on, like Rotten Tomatoes or anything, but I think it could have done better if it would have just added more ops and conflict. Not to like say it should have bit off more than it could chew, because that's definitely a detriment to the entire project itself. But I do think having more ops or conflicts or characters teaching the main character or the supporting character something could really set this movie apart from other ones. Because I don't even know how many people have even heard of this movie. But that being said, even though I gave it a 5 out of 10, I still think it's a movie you should watch. Watch it when you're bored. You'll probably get something out of it. That's the only reason I recommend it. So, yeah, that's our movie review for Land of Lost.